Hello and welcome inside Alumni Field. The University of Michigan softball plays MSU tonight in another edition of WCBN Sports' coverage of Michigan softball. I'm Alex Strain, joined by Lucas Vargas for tonight's rivalry matchup between the interstate rivals Michigan and Michigan State, the second of two games being played this year between the Spartans and the Wolverines. Game number one was a couple weeks ago in East Lansing. That was an easy win for Michigan, 12-1. Michigan State in the midst of a rough season, but rivalry matchups always tricky, and Michigan State is the team that knocked Michigan out of consecutive Big Ten tournaments. So a lot of rivalry bad blood at stake here. And it's a windy day, eh?
Oh, it's a windy day, Alex. I feel like every time we do a Michigan State game, there must be some sort of like weird weather attached to it. Never forget when we went to Spartan Stadium and we literally broadcasted a storm. Not quite that bad today, but certainly some windy conditions here coming from the north, from the outfield side. So the bats won't have the wind behind them. We'll see how it might impact some foul balls or some other fly balls as well. But yeah, certainly something to factor in. It might die down as the game goes on. We'll see.
Yeah, right now game time temperatures, we're shortly awaiting the first pitch, is 54 degrees, partly cloudy, winds west-northwest at 14 miles an hour, blowing from left field through right at us, where we are situated down the first base. Michigan in the maize out today, with the maize jerseys. Michigan State wearing their all-green uniforms. We got started on this broadcast right after the anthem, which was played a little bit earlier than normal. This game is being broadcast on television on Fox Sports 1. Very, very unusual to have a softball game in a major network, but we welcome it. So the timing is a little off. We still are probably 3-4 minutes away from first pitch. The lineup's just being announced on the field right now, and we can read those off as it stands. For Michigan State, it'll be Katie Ladd leading it off, followed by Carla Eccles, who has been a freshman sensation for them, followed by Mackenzie Meach, Ebony Eccles, Caitlin Eveland, Melanie Bakay, Katie Quinlan, Caitlin Hendershot, Lainey Joyner, and McKenna Gregory. Largely the same lineup that MSU had a year ago. They lost Christina Zalewski, but overall, still largely the same pieces intact, adding Carla Eccles, but it's been a tough season for Michigan State. For Michigan, Faith Canfield, Natalie Peters, Lexi Blair, Alex Subject, Madison Uden, Mackenzie Nemitz, Haley Hogenrod, Katie Alexander, Natalia Rodriguez, and in the circle, Megan Bobian. The standard lineup now for the past several weeks. Michigan coming off a great weekend in Champaign. It was a 3-game sweep of the Fighting Illini, and most notably, the Saturday game, ever the dramatic. Big come-from-behind win in Champaign, where Michigan was down to their final strike, down 3 runs in the top of the 7th inning, bases loaded and 2 outs. Lou Allen had a single into right field, which was marked as an error. I thought it was a clean base hit. That brought in 2 runs, and then Faith Canfield doubled in 2 more on the very next at-bat to put Michigan ahead by 1 run. A stressful bottom of the 7th for Megan Bobian, but Michigan able to wiggle out that one, and then they just pounded Illinois on Sunday. 6 home runs in that one.
Yeah, definitely carrying momentum from Saturday into that Sunday game, but a little bit of a nerve-wracking game there, as you mentioned, on Saturday, but Michigan needed to win that one to keep things close right now in what's been a relatively competitive Big Ten conference. They did just that, getting the magic they needed on the road at Illinois, found a way to get it done, and they keep that hope alive for regular season Big Ten title. Got to take care of business here this evening, and hope that Northwestern, maybe has some trouble with Illinois in their game tonight. But yeah, a lot of softball left to be played, and Michigan got the wins they needed.
Yeah, as we will talk about in this broadcast, it's a very competitive Big Ten chase, 3-way of the conference. Northwestern, Michigan, and Minnesota Michigan and Minnesota have both dropped one game on the year. Northwestern still undefeated. They won game one of their doubleheader against Illinois, playing number 2 right now. Northwestern's just had a phenomenal season, but the big wrinkle in this whole thing is that Minnesota will host Northwestern the final weekend of the regular season. Michigan is through the teeth of their schedule. They've got just 7 games remaining, all of which against bottom feeder Big Ten teams. Michigan State tonight, Penn State on the weekend, and then at Maryland to close out the regular season. If Michigan goes 7-0 the rest of the way, they have to feel pretty solid about their chances of getting at least a share of the title. If Northwestern goes into Minnesota and sweeps and goes undefeated 23-0, there's not much you can do about that. But otherwise, you got to just keep playing your games and hope you get one break somewhere.
Yep, and as we've learned the last couple of years, Alex, as you mentioned, top of the broadcast, that Michigan State has kind of played that spoiler role against Michigan a couple times here in recent years, most notably in the Big Ten tournament. And Michigan's got here at home, sellout crowd, good atmosphere tonight. They got to take care of business.
So here's Megan Beaubien in the circles. We are just about ready to get going. It'll be Katie Ladd leading things off. Beaubien started the game against MSU a couple weeks back. She really did not have it. 4 batters in, was pulled, and then Alex Duraco was incredible. 15 strikeouts in that game. Surprised we're not seeing her to start. But Beaubien had a bit of a struggle, I would say, on Sunday. Gave up 4 runs in the bottom of the first, albeit to an excellent offensive team in Illinois. But she battled through it and only gave up 5 runs in 6 innings. Limited the losses, and the Michigan Bats did the rest in a comfortable blowout. But certainly a strong performance tonight by Beaubien can help right the ship here in her sophomore campaign, trying to get back to what she was as a freshman. So here's the first pitch to Katie Ladd, and that one is just a little low. There's a sellout crowd, packed house, and the Mays Out shirts being handed out.
Yeah, really, really nice to see. The outfield is packed as tight as it could be.
Beaubien checking the wristband as we're waiting for something. Michigan defense is its normal alignment with Alexander behind the dish. Subject over there at first, Canfield at second. Here's pitch number 2, also a little low. Rodriguez at short, Uden at third. Peters, Hoganrod, and Blair in the outfield. Shadows are a factor here in the early going, as the sun is not quite set yet. 2-0 pitch. There's a swing and a fly ball into right. Hoganrod sizes it up straight on, an easy play for the first out of the contest.
Yeah, as you mentioned, got the wind and the sun a little bit early on, so we'll see if at least one, if not both, fade away as the game goes on. But just something to take into account here for especially the outfielders.
So Beaubien steps back on to face Carla Eccles. Gets ready and delivers the first pitch. That one is called strike, starting her off with the off speed, which has been a pattern for Beaubien this season in attacking hitters. Eccles has been phenomenal as a freshman for MSU. 380 average places her in the top 10 of the hitters in the conference in terms of batting average. 0-1 pitch to Eccles is just off the plate. Outside, Eccles sports 5 homers. Do you think she could have more with a rather compact, powerful frame, the starting catcher for MSU? But her ability to make contact so consistently, 493 OBP, it's been a big problem for opponents as that one floats high, 2-1.
Yeah, and Beaubien gave her that off-speed pitch in that first one. Now a couple balls very high right there, and see if she's able to really attack this freshman, or is going to have to settle the pitch more around the strike zone.
2-1 to Eccles, swinging a ground ball, soft tapper to first, and Subject is right there, taps the bag, and quickly 2 outs in the inning.
Now that's a good pitch, get the ball in play, nothing too hard to collect, and routine play made at first base.
And that brings up Mackenzie Meach, who is a number 3 hitter. Also a freshman, her and Eccles, the 2 freshmen that have penetrated the starting lineup for MSU this year. Beaubien sets. First pitch on its way, and there's a check swing as it got a piece of the bat. And the count 0-1.
Yeah, and Beaubien, like you mentioned in that first Michigan State game this season, struggled very early on. I expect her to come out pretty locked in. She's one heck of a competitor, and I think you've seen that a couple different times this season, especially in relief when she's been called upon. Expect her to come out with a good start.
0-1 off speed. There's a strike right down the middle. Froze Meach, and now Beaubien ahead 0-2. Beaubien hasn't racked up a ton of strikeouts this year. It's not really her thing, but as we saw with Storako a couple weeks ago, MSU susceptible to the strikeout. We'll see if she can carve up Meach here. The 0-2 coming, fouled back. Michigan playing here today at Alumni and then have 3 on the weekend at home against Penn State. Final regular season homestand of the year. Games later in May to be determined at this time, but certainly a possibility. We'll talk more about that later. 0-2 pitch fouled back.
And Meach fighting off some of these pitches well, trying to keep this inning alive for Michigan State. Not the same start they had in that first game.
Beaubien checks the wristband. Meach a 291 average, 331 on base, 453 slugging, 4 home runs this year for her. 0-2 off speed, froze her right down the middle, and a called third strike. And Michigan sits down the Spartans 1-2-3 in the top of the first. Our score: Michigan State 0, Michigan 0. You're listening to Michigan Softball on WCBN Sports and 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor.
That said, first strikeout of the game. We're broadcasting outside, embracing the elements. I mean, it's a pretty nice day too, but the wind makes it a little chilly.
Yep.
But we also got a strikeout counter right here in front of us, so it'll be easy to follow that stat all game long for us.
Michigan State's defense getting ready to head out there. They'll be behind their pitcher in this one, McKenna Gregory. MSU has struggled this season to replace Christina Zalewski, who was so good for them a year ago. She really carried the load, and it was evident in these two teams' matchups a year ago how important Zalewski was, because they played 3 times. In the 2 times Zalewski was the starter, one was a 1-0 tight Michigan win. The other was the win for MSU in the tournament. And then the one game Zalewski did not pitch was a run rule bludgeoning in East Lansing. And when these teams met a couple weeks ago, it was the same story. They've just struggled to find an answer in the circle to quiet the Michigan bats.
Well, pitchers are a hot commodity in college softball. When you can find one, you've got to try and make the most of them. And Michigan State certainly had a good one last season, but struggled to replace her, as you mentioned. Michigan's got 2, arguably 3 pretty decent ones to work with. So certainly a contrast in style there.
Well, and it's a very talented Big Ten conference in terms of pitching. Illinois really the only great offensive team in the conference. Minnesota, Northwestern, and Michigan all led off the strength of their pitching. Danielle Williams for Northwestern, Amber Pfizer for Minnesota. Wisconsin's got some great pitchers too. It's a very talented conference in the circle.
You gotta have those low-scoring games for it to be a Big Ten sport.
And Ohio State, of course, Morgan Ray and Lauren Rice you saw a few weeks back in Columbus. There's a first pitch taken by Faith Canfield for a strike. The Michigan leadoff hitter digs in there. She's been through a bit of a slump the last couple of weeks. Had a home run over the weekend, though, against Illinois. Average a little bit lower than what you'd expect, but Michigan hoping she can close the season strong. There's a ball low, 1-1. Canfield, the senior leader. Starting second baseman, it's a pretty veteran-heavy top of the order for Michigan, but there's definitely some younger players that are in the mix as well. 1-1 to Canfield. She swings and lines that one into right for a base hit. Drops in right at the feet of Joyner, the right fielder, who catches it on one hop for a solid leadoff single.
A very nice hit, just high enough to clear the infield and just the air into the grass, and Michigan gets on base with their first batter. A good start for the offense and a good start for Faith Canfield.
Canfield is aboard. Natalie Peters to the plate. Peters, the number 2 hitter, stands in there, and she takes the first pitch in the outside corner for a strike. Peters has really been surging in conference play. Her on base .493 in conference play, OPS over 1,000. She's got 1 home run on the year for the traditional slapper, also 1 triple. Here's the 0-1. She swings and knifes that one. They're going to try to turn 2. There's one. Relay to first. Not in time. Peters very, very fast down the line, and it's a fielder's choice. 6-4 on the putout.
Yeah, it didn't look like Peters really got a good handle on that ball. Just kind of got a chip at it and just really rolled right there to the shortstop. Easy flip to second base, but her speed allows her to at least prevent it from being a double play.
So here's the best overall player for these Wolverines. Lexi Blair stands in, the left fielder, wearing number 3, batting third in the order. She takes the first pitch down and away. Blair enters this game after a monstrous effort in Game 3 of the series against Illinois, 4 for 5 in that one with a walk, if I remember correctly, and her average up to .418, trying to become the first Michigan freshman in the past 15-plus years to hit .400 as a freshman. 1-0 coming is a strike. Throw down to Peters. Safe! It's a good throw by Eccles, but Peters able to get down.
Yeah, the base was left open for just enough time. Really speedy player on the base pass. Natalie Peters able to get just there in time before the throw.
So that moves the runner into scoring position for Blair, who is by far the team leader in RBIs with 40. Blair up to 5 homers, 17 doubles, no triples in her speed. The 1-1, she swings and fouls that one back. Blair, as just a freshman from Winter Garden, Florida, will certainly be a cornerstone of the lineup for the next several seasons to build around. She came in marketed as more of a Natalie Peters type traditional slap hitter, but she's proved herself to be a far more diverse offensive threat than expected. The 1-2 swung on and popped up, arcing foul.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, just a complete player already early on in her career as a freshman, and only room to improve, you would think, but it's going to be really hard to improve on a .418 batting average.
Yeah. Count is 1-2, and that one is down in the dirt, 2-2, and probably the most impressive stat of all, not the .418 batting average, not the .467 OBP, but 4 strikeouts and 146 at-bats.
Yeah, it's incredible plate discipline. Best among the Michigan lineup that is normally rolled out there, and for a freshman to come in with that much just presence at the plate.
There's a 2-2 pitch, swung on and hit high in the air. Straightaway center, coming on and making the play is the center fielder Quinlan, and that'll be 2 outs in the inning. And that'll bring up Alex Subject, who has been a big-time power threat for Michigan this season, coming out of relatively nowhere.
Very pleasant breakout for the Wolverines. And it's become about as reliable as you could ask for from the cleanup spot and the first base spot as well.
Subject's career has been rather odd in terms of being shifted all around the diamond at different points in her career, always struggling to catch on full-time as a regular everyday player. It's taken until this season of her career, as she takes the first pitch low, that she finally seized an everyday starting job at the first base position, and she's done it more than anything because of the power she brings to the lineup with 9 home runs to lead the team. She's got a chance to pick up an RBI here with Peters on second. The 1-0 coming is just outside, 2-0. Subject's drawn a lot of walks, the 378 average and the 518 OBP. Her ability to get on base in any way possible. And she's solidified the order batting cleanup. the 2-0, high 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, and then defensively too, to play first base.
Yeah.
I mean, that's to add that in there as well. It's impressive stuff to really take on that responsibility and, as you mentioned, really solidify the lineup and be a rock for the team.
3-0 pitch is a strike on the outside part of the plate. Maddie Uden waiting on deck if subject can get aboard. 2 outs in the inning, runner on second. There's a leadoff single from Canfield, and Peters reached on a fielder's choice, stole second, and waiting to come home. The 3-1 is a little low, and subject draws another walk. Michigan has 2 on and 2 outs for Uden.
Trying to put some early pressure on McKenna Gregory. As an early meeting at the circle comes for the Spartans, but yeah, I mean, not only the top of the lineup for Michigan has been good, with all of them batting well over 300, but really the bottom of the lineup is very balanced as well, and it really makes the entire batting order a viable threat at the plate, and that's really helped Michigan this season. I think more so than last year, this team can really expect runs from the offense all around. They're not just relying on maybe 2 or 3 batters to try and scrape out a couple runs, but the pitching really has some reinforcements this season.
So here's Uden. She is at over 400 OBP in conference play. Her bat is perked up in a big 5-for-10 weekend in Champaign with a walk. An opportunity to bring some runs in here. First pitch is taken for a called strike. She had a home run on Saturday against Illinois. The junior from Glendale, Arizona, on the season, a 271 average, 391 OBP. She's very comfortable drawing walks, too. 0-1 pitch, off speed for another strike there from Gregory. Good way to start off that at-bat. As the wind really whipping right now. This is probably the hardest gust of the game so far. Gregory ahead 0-2. We'll see if she can put away a rather strikeout-prone hitter. The pitch, it backs her away inside.
And the way the wind is coming from the north, it's really coming almost across the outfield from kind of the third base foul pole to towards home plate.
Count 1-2 on Uden. Gregory steps on. Here's the pitch. That one is down and away. Eccles does a good job to get down and stop the runners from advancing. 2 on and 2 out for Uden. 2-2 count.
Gregory did a good job getting 2 early strikes and now 2 pitches low and away. Maybe trying to see if she can get Uden to bite, but Gregory's got to find a way to get this out from Michigan State.
The pitch, Uden swings and hits it arcing, and that one will go foul. We'll do the pitch again. Yeah, right now the wind trying to blow the flag right off the flagpole.
That American flag is, you can count the stars the way that thing's out right now. Though I guess if you have to count the stars on the American flag, you should probably reconsider a couple things.
Count 2-2 on Uden. The pitch, high, head level there, and now Uden has worked it from 0-2 to 3-2. Mackenzie Nemitz waiting on deck. Uden taps the plate. The payoff pitch, she swings and loops that one. It's going to be to the shortstop, and now rounding third, coming home is Peters, and she will score as the shortstop, Ladd, booted that ball. I don't know how I'd scored that one. They give her an error, certainly an error on the fielding, but I think if I were scoring it, I would give it an infield single with the run coming home thanks to the error, because it certainly seemed like Uden was going to be safe at first.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I my first impression was error.
Yeah.
I was leaning that way because, like, she catches that ball clean, she might even have to play it second.
That would be the one possibility. Because Uden got down the line really fast, and it was a soft tapper to the shortstop. Nemitz takes the ball outside, count 1-0.
It's really the second soft kind of tap to the shortstop of this inning, but
Yeah.
this one able to cause some damage.
So 2 on, 2 out for Nemitz. That pitch also outside, and now the count 2-0. Michigan leads 1-0 in the bottom of the first. Nemitz was the hero in Game 3 of the series against Indiana with the ginormous walk-off double into the gap. That pitch off speed for a strike. That was the last home game that Michigan had, and boy, that was an electrifying environment. Crowd was fired up. She was very, very happy too. Since then, she's actually been dropped a spot in the lineup because back then she was hitting behind Subject, and Subject had been intentionally walked to get to Nemitz. Nemitz swings and hits that one hard down the right field line. Goodbye! Home run! Almost cleared the seating out there in right field. The top row of the seats. An absolute towering fly from Mackenzie Nemitz, and it's 4-0 Michigan.
Yeah, that was a moonshot.
She used all the wind there.
My goodness, I actually thought that was going to clear.
Yeah.
The trajectory it was on, that looks mighty fine off the bat.
She got all of it, and Michigan will plate 4 runs at least in this inning, clear the bases with 2 outs.
I mean, right on cue though, right as you mentioned in the power. The she was kind of targeted instead of Alex Subcheck at a time, but teams can't do that anymore at all.
Yeah, well, and the interesting thing is I was looking over the weekend, and I think they're going to stick with Nemitz the rest of the way as Hoganrod takes a strike, but I think you could make a case for Morgan Overitis as designated player. She's been pretty darn good in her spot opportunities as a pinch hitter, and obviously a freshman who's starting to figure things out. But as long as Nemitz keeps hitting like that, Overitis will have to wait a little bit longer. 0-1 on Hoganrod is taken for another strike. 0-2, not sure she liked that one. Haley had a home run over the weekend in Champaign, up to 3 this season. 4 steals, 10 walks to 15 strikeouts. It's been up and down for her, but her .250 average not too far off of where she was a year ago. 0-2 is high, 1-2. A junior.
Well, and I mean, you talk about McKenna Gregory now having 4 runs on the board against her. I mean, she had opportunity with Madison Uden.
Yep.
And couldn't.
And that one is outside. Count 2-2.
Had her in an 0-2 hole and go low and away twice, very high for a ball 3, and then Uden able to put one in play, and Eric is committed. You gotta pitch at least around the strike zone to make your pitch a viable threat.
The 2-2 is down and in, and now Hoganrod's worked it to 3-2. This is the same issue that Gregory had against Uden, getting ahead but not finishing it off. What's been a tough year for Gregory, who entered with an ERA over 6 and a whip of close to 2. 3-2 on the way, and Hoganrod swings, pops it up on the infield. Coming in 4 or 5 steps is Evelyn to make the easy play, but Michigan, it's a commanding 4-run advantage in the bottom of the first, and our score after 1 inning of play, Michigan 4, Michigan State 0. You're listening to Michigan Softball on WCBN Sports and 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor.
And we would also like to remind you that you can listen to the regular scheduled WCBN programming at WCBN.org.
There's an advertisement up on the Jumbotron because Thursday night is the Michigan Softball Academy. Always a fun event. That traditionally the Thursday before the last series of the regular season, or last home series rather, and that is this weekend. Penn State comes to town over the weekend for 3 games.
Sir, it's a big lot going on this weekend, Alex. We've got a big Penn State series. We've got the NFL draft. We've got Avengers Endgame. Just a a lot to it here.
Yeah, NFL Draft Thursday night.
I always love the rumors that come out on draft week because
Oh, yeah.
99% of it is just draft talk, draft smoke that other teams are putting out there. And, you got to do your work early when it comes to the NFL draft. You got to do your research early, know what's going on, because this last week before the draft it's all just, kind of shooting smoke.
Well, and then you had the Gary Wunderlich stuff coming out today, and Montez Sweat and his heart condition a couple days ago.
Look, any team that takes either of those guys is going to be very happy they did.
Yep.
And if you're going to let, a little test deter you, you're going to question a guy who's played like that his entire life, then, I think that gets to the point of over-analysis.
So here's Ebony Eccles as we get started in the top of the second. First pitch to Eccles is ball high. One and 0 as Bobian sets and delivers. There's a swing and a high pop-up. That'll get out of play down to the concourse.
Michigan defense, Megan Bobian more specifically, I guess, really got a nice long rest in the dugout there. At the bottom of the first inning, certainly took some time.
1-1 is a little outside.
As the sun continues to set, the shadow's not going to be quite the same problem they are.
Yeah, the whole infield now, except for the shortstop position, is finally covered. 2-1 on Eccles. Here's the pitch. Swings and lines it back. 2-2.
And that's the thing, Megan Bobian is just so hard to hit cleanly. A lot of foul balls off of her pitches because, girls know when to swing, but hitting it's completely different.
Bobian steps on. 2-2 count on Eccles. And check swing a little high, and they say Eccles did not go. Ebony is a 354 hitter, 449 OBP. The Eccles sisters are really the two stalwarts for MSU in their lineup. Everybody else struggling this season.
They certainly do some heavy lifting offensively.
3-2, swing and a line drive to left. This one is going to back Blair up to the track to the wall, but she will haul it in for the first out of the inning.
Nice job tracking that by Lexi Blair. Took a little bit of an awkward curve.
Yeah.
Midair. I don't know if you caught that as well.
It looked good off the bat, a solid liner, but it will stay in the park in front of the wall out there in left, which is right around 200 feet. It's 222 to dead center, 200 down the lines.
Get the geometry skills out and do some math here.
And that one backs Eveland in, 1-0. Caitlin Eveland, 291 hitter, 424 OBP, 7 home runs for her. Swing and a ground ball right back to the mound. Bobian knocks it down. Uden gets to it. Oh, and they call her safe at first. I don't think that was the right call.
That's a close one right there. That is very close. I don't know about that one either, but it was kind of a bang-bang play.
Yeah, Bobian.
Pretty good effort by Bobian to try and stop it initially.
She's very good at knocking those down. I'm not sure that one would have been a base hit if she knocks it down. I think Rodriguez might have gotten to it because it definitely changed the trajectory. It kicked off Bobian's glove directly towards third baseman Uden, who made a great play to get to it and get it out of the glove fast. As Melanie Bakay stands in, and she takes the first pitch high and outside. Bakay, a 258 hitter. Doesn't have a ton of power. 2 doubles, 2 home runs, and 2 triples somehow. Off speed is high, 2-0. Our umpires at home plate, it is Brian Smith, first base Jim Connors, and third base Alex Leet. And now conversation from Katie Alexander to talk to Beaubien.
Just real quick, talk about how they want to attack with a runner at first base now.
Beaubien checks the wristband and now deciding how she wants to approach Bakay, who is a junior. Michigan State starting a couple seniors, Eccles and Eveland. 2-0 pitch to Bakay is inside, and now the count runs 3-0. The 3-0 is inside, and Beaubien just could not find the strike zone there, and that'll put 2 Spartans on with 1 out in the top of the second.
I mean, a little erratic here for Beaubien. That deep left field fly out. You know, they look pretty good off the bat, and then 2 walks now back to back. So, see if she can settle in real quick here too.
Katie Quinlan now at the plate, and she really has no power at all, and so Michigan has drawn the entire infield in, awaiting a potential sacrifice bunt. Shows bunt and takes strike 1 as Beaubien refines the zone.
Yeah, those infielders that do not attack the bunt are going to have to really be ready to find a base, especially Talia Rodriguez there at shortstop, to make a play with runners for the Spartans at first and second base.
0-1 on Quinlan. Quinlan is a speed first center fielder, and she shows bunt again and takes that one, I guess, just inside maybe.
Yeah, that was a close one.
She's got 14 stolen bases on the season. At the very least, will try to get the runners over if she does go with the bunt. This time she's going to just run up to it and takes it for a strike, and now Beaubien's ahead 1-2, and that may well take the bunt out of play.
Yeah, that's making Beaubien do. Get her to miss. Get in the strike zone against someone looking to bunt. Puts her now at the upper hand.
And the count 1-2. That one goes high, 2-2. Uden's drawn way in at third especially. Subject playing closer to the bag, knowing that she has to cover. And Rodriguez has moved over quite a bit towards third base. Canfield covering the traditional hole, but drawn in. 2-2. Now she shows bunt and pops it up. Coming over is Uden into foul territory. Would have been a strikeout if she dropped it either way. And now 2 outs in the inning.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking to bunt, though, you cannot get the ball up like that. Really doesn't give anybody a chance on the offensive end.
So here's the designated player, Caitlin Hendershot. And that one way high. Alexander does a good job to get out of the crouch to snare it.
Oh, yeah, really nice snag. It's Evelyn at second base. Really thought about going.
Hendershot definitely scuffling this year. A 167 average, 238 on base, but only 18 at bats, so hasn't gotten a lot of chances. She takes that one outside, 2-0. Beaubien was consistent at finding the zone and the at-bat with Quinlan after struggling against Bakay, but now has fallen behind a vulnerable hitter, 2-0. And that one is fouled back, 2-1. Checks the wristband, steps on. The The 2-1 coming, swing and a miss. That's a good pitch away from getting out of it.
Yeah, should really be attacking a batter like this. Like you mentioned, batting 167 on the year. Probably not a lot of confidence at the plate with an all-conference caliber pitcher.
The 2-2 swing and a miss. As that one rising out of the zone, and down goes Hendershot. Michigan gives up a single and a walk, but is able to get out of things with the 4-0 lead intact. We go to the bottom of the second. Our score, Michigan 4, Michigan State 0.
Some other big news from Michigan today was the announcement by Jordan Poole that he will officially be remaining in the NBA draft pool.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting decision given that he is not necessarily a lock to be drafted at all.
But as the G League has become more of a viable NBA option, I think, maybe you might see more kids really just content to go and play basketball,
Yeah.
As you don't have to go overseas anymore if you're not able to get into the NBA. So that's appealing to be able to stay stateside. You're still going to get pretty good coaching in the G League, and I think every year they put out those numbers that there's a lot of players in the playoffs every single season with NBA G League experience. They do a great job developing talent in that league. It's good coaches. It's becoming a lot more of a conducive style of play to the NBA in itself, with the way that teams have affiliates now, the way that two-way contracts have developed and been used successfully. So, there are options like that, so it's understandable why, even if maybe you're not projected to be the highest draft pick, you still consider the option to go professional.
Yeah, it's been a busy week of Michigan news, and it'll be interesting to see in the NFL draft how many Michigan players are picked as well.
Yeah, Thursday, the big day with the first round, and the second and third rounds, and then 4th through 7th following that.
Gary seems to be a lock for the first.
Devin Bush as well, probably.
Devin Bush as well. And I could see Long
David
and
Long
Winovich both in the second. And now Katie Alexander to lead off here as we get going in the bottom of the second. Michigan leads by 4. Alexander's having a very strong conference play after a tough non-conference with a 388 average. And she takes that one down and in. 388 OBP in conference play. OPS greater than 1,000. As a result of a lot of power, 9 home runs for her on the season after hitting a couple more over the weekend. She had 2 against MSU when these teams met in East Lansing. 1-0 pitch is fouled off of herself, and now the count 1-1.
It's a painful foul ball going off your foot. How these girls hit that ball, just to have it go straight into your shoe.
1-1 the count on Alexander. She swings, hits that one high and deep to center, back to the track, to the wall. Goodbye! Home run! She might have used the wind there too, even though it's not as severe right now, as it just did get over the fence. It pushed Quinlan back to the track, and then she deposited it there in that first row of seating in right center, and Michigan leads 5-0. She continues to slug against the Spartans.
Yeah, she is got some power for sure, and I think you're right about the wind. Maybe getting some lift on some of these deep fly balls, especially towards right field. Like you mentioned, the wind is kind of coming from left to right, and we've seen some very high arcing fly balls go for home runs now, but. Yeah, that was power, and when Katie Alexander is the lowest average hitter in your lineup, that's probably fine.
And that one fouled back by Natalia Rodriguez. Michigan, this is a storyline, is a better power hitting team this year than they were a year ago. On Sunday, they officially surpassed last season's home run total, and they've still played significantly fewer games at this point. 0-1 to Rodriguez is taken for a strike, 0-2. Last year's team had 44 total homers. This year, 45 entering tonight, now all the way up to 47, and still quite a bit of softball to be played. And that's come from Alexander hitting more as Rodriguez lays down a bunt to third. It's going to be a tough for Evelyn. Rodriguez beats it out to first, and Michigan has an infield single.
Evelyn saw it coming, charged the ball, but looked like her cleats almost got stuck in the dirt. Couldn't get the footing down to make the throw, and
yeah,
on a runner like Rodriguez, you got to get that throw off on time and deliver it to the right place. Not on time there. Runner at first.
So Michigan with a runner on as Canfield steps up and takes strike one. Rodriguez over there at first. The power as a whole, I mean, when you look at this team, the biggest factor, I think, is Subject stepping up. She's replaced Terrell Blanco in terms of power. Alexander's power up. Canfield's power is up as she fouls that one down the line. Nemitz has provided power. Hoganrod and Uden have been themselves. Blair's pitched in 5, so it's come from a lot of different sources. This team doesn't have one superpower. There is no Sierra Romero or, going back a number of years, Finley from 2005. But it's come from a lot of different places, and it's a 5 hitting team in the Big Ten as Canfield takes that one outside 1 and 2.
As you mentioned, a really balanced lineup, and not just balanced average-wise, but balanced power-wise for the most part too, and it's really made it lethal.
And that one, I think, got a piece of Faith Canfield. She will take first base. Bending out of the way, might have just clipped her arm.
And Michigan State's going to have a quick conversation with the umpire about that one.
Yeah, I saw earlier today the clip on Twitter of Samantha Finley's legendary home run for Michigan in the 2005 Women's College World Series to clinch Carol Hutchins' national championship in the 2005 team. It was a 3-run shot in the top of the 10th in the sudden death Game 3 of the championship series. And there's the ball low, 1-0 to Peters.
Top of the 10th for it all.
Yep. So 2 on and no out for Michigan here in the bottom of the second. And this is another storyline to talk about with this season. Not just the power, but I think the clutch hitting has been a lot better with this team as Peters takes a strike compared to last year and the year before, 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, conference play, there's been a couple close calls, and there have been some big deliveries when the game's on the line.
Certainly the games against Illinois out. 1-1 to Peters. Off speed is low, 2-1. But I think also you can make the case for some of those big non-conference wins against UCLA and Washington, because when you're playing an elite team, you're not going to get many base runners. So anytime you score a run is a clutch hit.
Yep, got to value your plate appearances.
2-1. Peters swings and lines that one right to left field, straight on. Eccles makes the play. 1 out. That was a hard hit ball.
That was a dart.
Eccles positioned perfectly to reel that one in, and 1 out in the inning. That'll bring Lexi up.
That one looked like if it got just a little bit more of that lift from the wind, maybe that one could have at least seen the wall.
Yeah. Blair digs in, flew out to center her first time up. Rodriguez on second, Canfield on first. You could see a double steal potentially, but Eccles has got a great arm, and there's a strike for 0-1 on Blair.
Yeah, it's a very impressive freshman catcher.
Michigan got into some issues running into outs in the series against Ohio State. Trying not to repeat the same things. 0-1 to Lexi is another strike, 0-2. And Gregory finding the zone well here. Wind's picked back up a little bit. And the shadows now have extended out into right field. 0-2 for Blair. She swings and just gets a piece for a foul tip, and we'll do it again. So far, 1 1/3 pitched for McKenna Gregory. 5 runs surrendered on 4 hits, 1 walk, and a hit by pitch. 2 home runs. And that was just pitch number 50 for her. Blair takes that one just outside. The Michigan State dugout wanted it. But a confident take there from Lexi, someone who sees the plate better than just about anybody else in the country. Hard to beat only 4 strikeouts in 147 at-bats. 1-2 coming. She swings and lines that one into center field. Here comes Rodriguez rounding third. She will score without a play, and Michigan leads 6-0. Lexi gets it done.
It's the second time Michigan's got one of their speedsters in position for a play like that at second base. Natalie Peters and now Natalia Rodriguez both at second base and able to score on, not necessarily shallow plays like that one, but the speed kills, and now Michigan holds a 6-0 lead.
So here's Alex Subject. 2 on, still only 1 out in the inning. 6-0 Michigan. Alex takes that one high and tight. Michigan got 4 in the first, now 2 here in the second, and a chance to do more with some of the more powerful hitters coming on up.
Michigan State warming up arms in the bullpen.
And there's a swing and a line drive, base hit into center field. Here comes Canfield rounding third. She will score. And Alex Subject, basically the exact same hit as Lexi Blair. Solid single and move runners up, bring in an RBI, and Michigan leads 7-0.
But this is where, the first inning comes back to bite Michigan State, and that they didn't do their work with that, the middle and bottom of the lineups, and now seeing the top of the lineup again with runners on base especially, just puts themselves in a tough situation. Had opportunities.
Here's Uden. She takes that one off speed outside for ball 1. She reached on the error to the shortstop. Was going to be a tough play, and Ladd was unable to come up with it. And she swings, hits that one into center field. Moving over and making the play is Quinlan. 2 outs in the inning. Good contact there from Maddie, but not able to get it down. And now brings up Mackenzie Nemitz, who had a 3-run homer her last time up.
Just absolutely mashed it almost over the outfield stands here at Alumni. Just to give you an idea of how much arc that ball had on it. What do they call it in the MLB? The distance? I don't remember.
There's a strike.
Love those graphics they always pull out.
Where
they have the ball going.
Arc.
They project how far it would go,
Yep.
and then hits the stands. And how do you know it would have gone that far? But
we don't have that technology here. I think Michigan baseball has some of that technology.
I actually think they make up some of those numbers. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really believe it.
0-1 pitch, swing and a miss there from Nemitz. 0-2. Former WCBN Sports member Max Brill is into that kind of stuff with the baseball team.
They're like, this would have gone 700 feet. It's like, okay, thanks.
It was good to see Brill on a baseball broadcast last week.
Yeah, does a good job.
There's a pitch down and away. Doesn't have much time for us these days with his bigwig status in the athletic department, but
is it
a great baseball mind.
Is it time, or was it being allowed to?
I think it's both. There's definitely issues of conflict of interest. 1-2 to Nemitz, swing and a miss, and Gregory is able to get out of the frame, but not before surrendering 3 more to the Wolverines, and Michigan leads 7-0 after 2. You're listening to Michigan Softball on WCBN Sports and 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor. Megan Bobian goes back out there to start this top of the third.
We'd like to remind listeners that this is WCBN FM Ann Arbor, and that your regularly scheduled programming can be found on WCBN.org. Thank you for tuning into WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball. As Alex mentioned, currently 7-0 lead for the Michigan Wolverines after 2 innings.
Just one more on-air game this week on Friday night. Michigan baseball will be the on-air. That one, I believe, starting at 6.
Series against Rutgers, I think?
Yes. And then concurrently with that, we will have this series against Penn State here in softball Friday night.
The farewell JP
Yeah,
tour,
the farewell
right?
JP game Friday night.
I want to tune into that one. Tears will be shed.
Yeah, that one's going to be quite the game. My plan is to read various statements from longtime supporters of our coverage of softball. If you have something nice to say about your time listening to JP over the years, you can DM me on Twitter and I'll read it out during the broadcast.
Well, maybe I'll DM you on Twitter.
So we get started in the top of the 3rd. It'll be Laney Joyner, and then we'll flip back to the top, Ladd and Eccles. Bobian warming that left arm up.
Of course, we gotta wait for TV, Alex.
Yeah, gotta wait for FS1.
Wouldn't be a rivalry game without media timeouts.
First pitch to Joyner is a little outside. Bobian so far in the 2 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. Pretty solid, and the 34 pitches is the Bobian signature in terms of keeping that pitch count down. 1-0 is a little high on Joyner, 2-0. Coming, swing and a miss. Big cut there from Laney Joyner. Not much of a power hitter, 2 homers, 2 doubles, 1 triple, but she was swinging for the fences there.
Yeah, I mean, it's another hitter that Bobian should really be attacking. 221 average. Show your stuff.
Swing and a miss there by Joyner, and now 2-2. Bobian at her best is somebody who throws a lot of strikes. She struggled with command this year more than she did a year ago with the walks and the hit by pitches, but she's been able to largely battle through and remains still a very, very good pitcher. The 2-2 is a little high. You know that you are a very, very special pitcher when your down year is still top 5 in the conference.
Well, the reason it's a down year is because the standard she set for herself as a freshman as well.
Yep. 3-2, swing and a miss there by Joyner. And to Bobian's credit, when Michigan has needed her in the big games, Washington and UCLA in particular, she rose to the occasion in those ones to give Michigan a couple big wins, and Michigan could see that kind of team again in the tournament. So
she's also been called upon in relief a couple times. So.
Yep. So we go back to the top of the order. Here's Katie Ladd. She flew out to right her first time up. Oh, and she took that one right off the hands. It looked like maybe the wrist. And she'll go down to first. That's been the one weird issue for Bobian this year, has been the excessive amount of hit by pitches. Mysterious. It was an issue a lot more early in the season, but has come back a little bit last couple games. And now here's Eccles. There's a strike. Charla Eccles grounded out to first her first time up.
Yeah, short, powerful stance.
Yeah, she's very different build than her sister. Ebony Eccles is a lot more slender and more of a speedy type. Eccles shorter, Charlie Eccles is a little shorter and more compact. Impressive walk to strikeout ratio, 24 walks to 9 strikeouts for Charla this year. One pitch is a little high, and that's the issue when you face a rather short hitter, is the compact strike zone.
Yep.
Runner on first, 1 out in the inning. Two-one pitch, strike taken, and Beaubien comes back to 2-2.
Her batting stance is a little interesting. It looks like almost mid-pitch, her shoulders drop a little bit as well.
And there's a swing and a liner into left field. And now Michigan State, couple runners here in the top of the third. Solid single.
Pretty similar position the Spartans were in previous inning, but this time more of the middle of the lineup, so see if they have an opportunity to do something with these runners on base right now.
Here's Mackenzie Meach. She struck out looking her first time up. Chance to bring some runners in and try to start to chip away at the 7-run Michigan lead. There's a swing and a foul back to the screen. One consideration from SU is they need to get some runs on the board because they're in run rule territory. Trailing by 7 runs. Rule is 8 runs after 5. They might not have that many more chances if the pitching can't hold down the fort.
This being the top of the lineup.
There's a swing and a high pop up in the infield. This should be an easy play for Canfield. 2 outs in the inning.
This being the top of the lineup, I mean, you figured by the top of the 5th, maybe you see these batters one more time up at the plate.
Yep.
So this might be your best opportunity, especially with runners on first and second, but now 2 outs for the Spartans.
So here's Ebony Eccles. She flew out to left on a hard hit ball to the track that Blair was able to haul in. This is who Michigan State wants up in this situation. She takes the first one just a tad outside. MSU's last couple appearances against Beaubien is they've been pretty darn good in terms of figuring out the Michigan lefty, getting to her very, very early in the game a couple weeks back. And they're at pitch high, 2-0, and battering her in the Big Ten tournament. That ugly, ugly night in Madison.
Yeah, you probably don't want to relive that one too much.
2-0 is a strike.
Telling
Right at the knees. Good pitch.
Telling you these two schools can only play with like bad weather surrounding.
Yeah.
You know, I mean the football games that we've had, the softball games, even the basketball games, like snowy outside, like.
2-1 swinging a line drive to left. Back goes Blair. She can't quite make it. It's just over her head, and they will stop Charla Eccles at third, but a run comes in, and MSU is on the board. Basically the exact same spot as her first hit, just a little bit more on it, and Blair not quite able to make an acrobatic play.
Yeah, that was basically the exact same hit, contact to left field as before, but Blair unable to play this one. It was very, very hard hit ball as well. And Michigan State, like you said, they needed to find a way to get a run on at least here. And they did that. Now runners at second and third base. Going to have to continue that.
So up comes Katie Evelyn. She singled her first time up and was stranded at second. That one way high, and Alexander has to get up to stop it. Charlotte Eccles over at third, perhaps not the biggest threat to come home in a wild pitch, but certainly a possibility, and a good job by Eccles to get in front of it. 1-0, also high. Bobian struggling with the command right now.
She's really been going high a lot this game.
Yeah, that's been a theme at times this year. Off-speed stuff just hasn't been as sharp. That's a strike. That's been the theme in this inning. Falling behind 2-0 and then coming back for that really calm strike. You wonder why it's not happening earlier in the count.
Can't just do it every time.
Two-one, swinging a foul back, and now the count 2-2 just did clip the top of the netting, and Alexander throws it back. Katie Alexander and Maddie Uden are the brave ones tonight with no long sleeve undershirt. 2-2 is high, 3-2. The rest of the team's got the blue undershirt on under the maize uniforms, as it is getting a little chilly with the wind.
Hey, sometimes it's just player preference, though. I mean, there are kids down in, places like Texas that like the sleeves, like the tights.
3-2 swing and a foul ball arcing right in front of us and bouncing off the railing and into the bullpen, as they'll do the 3-2 again. It'd be tough for a foul ball to get over to where we are, but there's a chance.
That would be some incredible spin on
Yep.
the ball.
3-2 swing and a soft tapper right back to the circle, but instead they say it went off of Evelyn before it went into play, so they'll do the full count one more time. The 3-2, got her looking, strike three, and Megan comes back with a big strikeout. So the Spartans get a couple hits from the Eccles sisters, but only able to scratch across one, and Michigan heads to the bottom of the third with a commanding 7-1 lead over the Spartans here on 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor.
Yeah, it's a good job limiting the damage. Megan Bobian could have been a lot worse, but Michigan still holds on to a 7-1 lead, and the Bats have not really shown any signs of struggle early on, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely getting colder out here.
Well, as we talk national implications for this one, Michigan entered the week 13th in RPI, and RPI has proved to be very, very predictive when it comes to the bracket. Last season, the top 38 teams in RPI all made tournaments, so if you're in that range, you feel pretty good. And the top 16 seeds all pretty close to the top 16 in RPI. Couple variations. SEC normally gets bumped up a little bit, but it's all within reason. So number 13 in RPI for Michigan is a pretty solid spot to be in at this stage if you want to be one of those 16 seeds to host the first weekend. And if Michigan can continue to win down the stretch, they'll be angling themselves in a good spot. Big Ten, if you went off top 16 in RPI, the Big Ten would have 3 regional hosts, Northwestern, Minnesota, Michigan, all in the top 16 right now.
That's probably not something that happens every year.
No. About 5-10 years ago, Northwestern was pretty strong and would host occasionally. Michigan, obviously, pretty routine to be hosting, even though it hasn't happened the last 2 seasons. Minnesota was in position to host a couple years ago, but got snubbed. One of the rare instances of a top 16 RPI team not getting the host, but their continued strong play as a program might earn them a bit more respect in the committee's eyes. They think they certainly value brands to some extent.
Tickets are still an underlying motivator in there.
Yeah.
People are going to be at the games. That's something that they do care about.
So here we go in the bottom of the third. Haley Hogenrod starts off with a hot shot ground ball to short, and a nice play there. Katie Ladd on the backhand and then flip across the diamond for the out.
And Ladd had that error earlier in the game, but no mishandle this time. Very clean play.
So here's Katie Alexander. She had the home run in the second to lead off that inning. That was her 10th of the season. We'll see if she can do some damage again facing McKenna Gregory. First pitch down and in. Michigan 7 runs on 6 hits. MSU 1 run on 3 hits. 1 error committed by the Spartans, none by Michigan. 4 left on for MSU, 2 left on for Michigan. And Alexander lines that one right down the left field line into the corner. Ebony Eccles picks it up and fires it to the cutoff, or over the cutoff head rather, as Alexander slides into second with a double. Absolute missile.
Really nice game for Katie Alexander now with the homer and the double. She's got a big smile on her face. Good for the senior against Michigan State.
Yeah, this could well be the final time Katie Alexander plays MSU. Right now, Spartans not in a great spot in terms of Big Ten tournament standings. Trying to pull up Big Ten softball standings because only the top 12 teams get to go to the tournament at all. It's not like basketball. And right now, MSU is tied in the cellar of the Big Ten, tied with Iowa at 3-12, Michigan 15-1.
Little pinch hitter action here, or pinch runner.
Yep, looks pinch runner is going to be Grace Schelleman. Schelleman is pretty much the de facto pinch runner for Katie Alexander and Mackenzie Nemitz whenever those two get on base. Natalia Rodriguez at the plate. Could see some backups come into this game at a later point if things remain a comfortable Michigan edge. Rodriguez takes a strike. She had a bunt single her first time up. Average .316 for Natalia, .378 on base. She's taken a step forward offensively as a sophomore, even though she will always be defense first as a 9-hitting shortstop. 0-1 high, a 1-1.
Yeah, 309 hitter out of your 9 spot isn't something that a lot of coaches have at their disposal.
One and one on Natalia. She swings, lines that one, backhand there by the second baseman. Nice play, Melanie Biquet, to get the speedy Rodriguez. Moves Alexander over to third and sets up Faith Canfield with an RBI opportunity, though.
Yeah, very smooth play with a backhand, showing the leather a little bit, turning around, good throw against a very fast runner. So Michigan threatens at third base, but Michigan State, once again with 2 outs, has the opportunity to get out of here with little to no damage and see what they're able to do now as they approach top lineup.
First pitch to Canfield is inside. Faith has reached base twice, a single and a hit by pitch. And the first and the second now coming up for the third time already in just 3 innings played. (1-0) down and the count is 2-0. MSU will play host to Northwestern this week, and they can try to be a spoiler to take down the Wildcats. They've played a handful of top 25 teams, and they had the unfortunate distinction of having to play all 3 of Minnesota, Michigan, Northwestern this year. It's pitch low, 3-0 now. I remember looking at their schedule early in the year, and it is just brutal for a rebuilding team.
Yeah, not like the basketball schedule where you play everybody at least once.
Yeah. And that one is a called strike. Canfield thought it was a little inside. 3-1 now. The MSU has to play Michigan twice. They had to play Minnesota. They had to play Northwestern. They have to play Ohio State. had to play Indiana. That could be 5 tournament teams right there out of your 7 total series.
That's tough.
3-1 is a strike, 3-2. Canfield's been trying to draw a walk here, but Gregory's come back with a couple strikes to load the count full. As the sun is officially set, the field is fully covered in shade. The lights on. 3-2, that one is finally low, and Canfield able to get that walk eventually. That'll bring up Peters with runners on the corners and 2 outs in the bottom of the 3rd.
Base hit likely scores 1.
Peters has reached base on a fielder's choice and lined out on a hard liner to left. She hit the ball very, very hard her last time up. Just 1 homer on the year for her. Not a power hitter, but she can hit one of those liners over the wall if she gets a hold of one. She swings, hits that one down the line, arcing foul.
That was one of those that she was going for.
Yep. Senior from San Diego. 0-1 count. Gregory's run herself into some trouble again with 2 runners on and 2 outs. And Peters gets a piece and fouls it back, and now the count 0-2. Peters just 7 strikeouts on the season to 13 walks. Definitely a contact hitter in the slapper mold. Peters part of this senior class that is the last group to remember Michigan in the Women's College World Series in 2016. 0-2 swing and a bouncing ball right to first, gloved well, but they rule, or no, it is, yeah, it's an out. It looked like someone was calling foul there, but yeah.
I think the assistant coach there.
Yeah, it looked like Bonnie Thole thought that was a foul ball, but it is an out. Nice play down there at first, and MSU able to put a goose egg on the board for the first time today. And we head to the top of the 4th, 7-1 Michigan over Michigan State. Here in Michigan softball on WCBN Sports. Bobian goes back out there, still rocking the sunglasses. That is her signature look, even though there's no sun right now.
It's a fashion statement, Alex. Today was the last day of regular classes here at the University of Michigan for the winter 2019 semester, which means that after a day off tomorrow, it will officially be finals week. What's your finals load going to be like?
I have 2 exams next week, a couple papers, not too bad.
I've also got 2 exams on Monday, and then flying back to Texas on next Tuesday.
A triumphant return.
Very triumphant return. The Heat will be waiting for me, as well as a second-round Stanley Cup playoffs hockey team.
Yeah,
Dallas Stars.
Oh, Toronto just scored 2-1 now, chipping away at Boston. Yeah, Dallas. It is pretty crazy while their season's gone, because, I mean, mid-season struggling, and the owner sounded off in that bizarre Athletic article, and it just felt like the team was going to collapse. And instead, they've woken up, and they've got
press the right buttons.
Got some star forwards with Sagan as your top line center, and defensively, I mean, Miro Heiskanen is a rookie. He's a dude. And John Klingberg very strong, too. They'll be playing St. Louis in the next round as Bobian starts off with the ball to Melanie Baquet.
I had to find a way to work that into the broadcast somehow.
1-0 count on Baquet. She takes that one for a strike. 1-1. Bobian struggled falling behind the hitters in the last inning. Looked to get ahead more here in the top of the 4th.
Bottom of the lineup here. We're 6, 7, 8 at least. Bowman should really attack most of these girls.
1-1 off speed and low. Released that one a little too early. It got into its break before it hit home plate. Two and one on Bakay, who reached on a walk her last time up. Two one, swinging a liner foul, and the count is 2-2. A good bit of this crowd didn't get the maize out message, but also it's a chilly night. Yeah, a lot of them don't have maize coats.
Oh man, I am shivering.
Friday night will be the pink out with the Softball Academy on Thursday. 2-2 swing and a miss there by Bakay, and Beaubien retires the first batter on strikes. At the football practice facility here. Is that the lacrosse one? I think it's a multi-purpose.
That's definitely football lines in there.
Yeah. The softball center right behind it.
Softball uses it for sure.
Yep. Now these are this is the rare time, these last couple home series, that Michigan waits all year for, because you do so many practices indoors in the off season when you play for a team like Michigan.
Yep.
To finally get these couple good home weekends.
20-mile-per-hour winds.
Yeah.
A little bit of a delay here.
So I think we might have a pinch hitter. Waiting to see what the official word is. It is going to be a pinch hitter. It will be Kelly Zackerson pinch hitting for Michigan State in the 7 slot. 179 average, 242 on base. It's been a tough season, and there's an arcing foul ball coming right at us, but it just goes on the roof. That one, if it had started its break earlier, could have been.
That could have been the one, man.
Yeah.
Could have been the one we were talking about. Protected here a little bit by this roof. Fortunately not protected from the wind, but.
Yeah. Zackerson 0-1, swinging. There's another pop-up. Same spot.
Really peppering that.
And that one gets down into the concourse. Looks like one softball is lodged there on the roof.
Oh, that's interesting right there. I don't know. I mean, that's pretty hard to do, actually.
Well, you got to get it up on that roof, and then it rolls down and gets stuck under that bar.
It's got to land pretty high up to. I mean, it'll be a few bounces first.
0-2 on Zackerson. She takes that one high, 1-2. And Michigan's largely had good weather last few weekends.
Oh, absolutely.
It was beautiful in Illinois this past week. I was down in Ohio the week before. It was beautiful then. It was very nice against Indiana back in early April.
I mean, yesterday was absolutely fantastic.
And yesterday was great, yep. 1-2, swing and a miss, and there's a strike 3. So Zackerson goes down, Beaubien a couple Ks as they put up another sign on the fence right in front of us.
No, I mean, last year we were just plagued by winter, literally like until we left. I mean,
well, yeah,
it wasn't like nice at all until I can't really remember the actual last week of school, and then I went home and it was like 95 and 100 degrees. At least this year got a couple 60s, 50s, occasional 70. So I'll take it. Take what we can get.
Now we have another pinch hitter for Michigan State. It's going to be Joanna Bartz, who swings and misses on the first pitch. He's a peculiar season, a 182 average, but a 364 on base, in part to 9 walks compared to just 6 hits.
Huh. Remember that one Toledo game we did?
Yeah.
Michigan as a team had more walks than hits.
Yeah, that was rough. There's a pitch high, 1-1. Yeah, the Ohio State people were talking about that game, looking over the schedule. 24-3 stands out.
Yeah.
There's one that floats high, 2-1.
That was memorable. That was memorable for sure.
Could see Sarah Schaefer in this game at some point. She pitched the final, or no, Storako pitched the final inning on Friday. Yeah, I don't think she got in over the weekend. There's a foul back, 2-2. It's only had a few opportunities this year, but these blowout games is when you want to give her a shot. Yeah, speaking of that, weather last year, it certainly played a factor because Michigan only ended up playing 21 Big Ten games a year ago. There's a swing and a miss, and Bovian strikes out the side here in the top of the fourth. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Our score, Michigan 7, Michigan State 1. You're listening to Michigan Softball on WCBN Sports at 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor. Last year, there was a cancellation against Rutgers. They had to sort of move things around against Maryland. The first Michigan State game got postponed once. It was tough. They had to cancel a game against Iowa. But this year, every game's been played so far. Haven't had to be too many doubleheaders. And you look at the weather for this weekend and then next, they should be able to get all 23 scheduled games in this year, which is good. Ready for the bottom of the fourth. It'll be 3-4-5 for Michigan. Blair, Subject, and Uden. McKenna Gregory still out there for MSU. She's been battered, but she's been able to get through the innings, which is what matters. 3 innings pitched, 7 hits surrendered, 2 walks. 7 runs.
Yeah, I mean, kind of wonder, is it worth burning another pitcher in a game like this?
Yeah.
So
for MSU on this roster.
That too.
The alumni band out there in the outfield. Always appreciate when they come out and play for the softball team. And you look at the numbers. Gregory is the worst pitcher statistically for MSU, but all of them are quite poor. No one has an ERA below 4.5, so you're splitting hairs to some extent. They've got 4 pitchers who have all pitched rather regularly, but just no one's been able to be a standout. So here's Lexi Blair. She's 1 for 2 tonight, average up to .419. And she lays down a bunt. That one is a beauty. Throw down is an out.
I called foul.
Oh, they did call foul.
It did land just foul. It was a good call by the official.
Yeah, that was a really good bunt. It just trickled foul, and it was a good play by Eccles to get out in front of it and just get the out, but the foul will nix all of that. Lexi, she really never lays down the bunt in situations where it's expected. It's always like that. First pitch surprise. And it works because of the power she has. You can't play her in. Even though third base is drawn in here. 0-1 is down and away. She's got the ability to barrel it up in a way that someone like a Natalia Rodriguez really doesn't. With 5 homers as a freshman, I mean, you have to think that there could be a point in her career where she could be an 8 or 10 homer player.
Oh, I mean, the strength development.
There's a 1-1 pitch lined up the middle. That one's going to go into the gap. It'll be off the wall. Blair speeding into second. Another hit. And Lexi is 2 for 3 tonight.
No, I mean,
it's
absolutely.
a hitting machine.
Absolutely, though. I mean, you think about like the strength development that will come over the course of a career. Like, power is not going to be something that lags at all.
Yeah.
It's only going to get better. And she obviously put the ball in play at a fine rate. You look at the batting average to see that for yourself. But could be even more lethal.
Yeah, she's now up to 423 on the season. Just ridiculous.
Sizzling.
So here's Alex Subject. She takes that one for a strike. Oh, and 1 on Alex. She's 1 for 1 tonight with a walk. And she swings and hits that one to center. Back to the track, to the wall, making the play is Katie Quinlan. Subject just a couple feet away from another homer, but she allows Lexi to move over to third with one out now in the inning.
Man.
So close.
Just like one more degree on the launch angle lower, and that's gone.
Yep.
Wow. I mean, nice job tracking it, though, out at center field, and took a hit by the wall, so it's a play the Spartans need to make to keep this game competitive.
So here's Uden. She's 0 for 2 tonight, but a chance to pick up an RBI here and knock in another run. Takes that one for a strike. Gregory's been able to find the zone for the most part with consistency. Oh, 1. That backs her out of there. 1-1. Lexi Blair entered tonight 41st in the country in batting average. Her .423 average as a result of tonight would move her up to 34th. Pretty elite company. There's a lot of teams with, one or two hitters that rack up just insane numbers. There's a pitch low, 2-1. Most notably, Kayla Conwent from Wisconsin is number 2 in the country, .492 average.
Wow.
That one is down and away, and now the count 3-1 on Uden.
I mean, that's like video game numbers.
Yeah.
Think about that. Almost every time you go to the plate, like once out of every 2 times, you're getting a hit. Not like just getting on base, like you're getting a hit.
3-1 to Uden is down in the dirt, and she'll take first base. The runner's on the corners now, 1 out for Nemitz.
And that's against like college pitchers too. That's not against just some freshman team or something. Like that is college Division I level talent.
There's quite a few hitters on this top 50 list that Michigan has played. Kelly Godin for UCLA is 5th. Reina Karanko for Arizona is 13th. As Nemitz strides in with runners on the corners, 1 out, she takes a strike. Sarah Jubas from James Madison is 21st. Going down the list a little farther, right behind Lexi at 43rd was Lily Piper from Ohio State, Amanda Lorenz of Florida at 46th, and Taylor Pack of UCLA 50th. 0-1 to Nemitz is high, 1-1. That UCLA team is just unreal. They did lose another game. Now they have 2 losses on the season, but they're top 3 in both batting average and ERA. Just unfair. But Michigan, of course, one of just 2 teams to knock them off. 1-1 to Nemitz. She lines that one. Fair ball down the left field line. Uden heading over to third. Hutchins is waving her around. She's coming home. 2 runs will score. Nemitz, what a night. A double for her, and it's 9-1 Wolverines. Matt gets it done with the double, and she's now got 5 RBIs on the evening.
Yeah, her and Alexander have that nice homer and double combo now.
Yep.
But nice job on the base pass, too, from Michigan, getting Uden all the way around from first base to score.
Yeah, Hutch pretty aggressive there at third, but it paid off as there was really not much of a play.
As expected, probably get a pinch runner here.
Yep, looks like it's going to be Thais Gonzalez.
Another speedy player.
Schelleman's already been used for Katie, and now Thais will come in for Nemitz. That'll bring up Haley Hoganrod to the plate. Hoganrod 0 for 2 tonight with a pop-up and a ground out. So runner on second, 1 out here in the inning. Michigan 4 in the first, 3 in the second, none in the third. Now 2 more in the fourth to lead at 9-1. Haley swings and hits that one into right, coming on, and no! There of a diving right fielder, Zacharson. Probably be marked down as an error, I would think. They might give it a friendly, and the scoring always done by the home team.
It's good effort, but just when you dive like that, you got to maintain possession through the process, right, Alex?
Yep. Process of the catch. They won't give Haley the single. There was some real home cooking going on against Illinois over the weekend. There was a ball that was a pop fly in the infield that Uden was unable to come up with, as there's a foul by Katie down the line. And it dropped in the infield, and they called it a double. It's like that, a dropped pop fly is a double. And now a conversation in the circle as McKenna Gregory's run into trouble once again here in the bottom of the fourth with 2 runners on. And it's still only 1 out in the inning, and now Michigan has that 8 lead. So 3 more outs from Megan Bobian scoreless, and the game will be over. Michigan would like to pour on some more runs here and really put the game out of reach.
Yeah, I mean, with just 1 out still in this bottom of the fourth inning, Michigan's got a lot of potential to continue to attack. Runner at third, runner at first, and Katie Alexander, who has had a very nice night at the plate.
Yeah, Katie with a home run and a double.
And
she hits that one into center field, a base hit. 1 run scores. They will hold Haley at second, and Katie Alexander gets it done. She's got a single, 3 for 3 tonight. Her average continues to climb, and Michigan 2 on, as it looks like we're going to have a pinch hitter. It's someone we've talked about earlier in the night, Morgan Overitis, who's been on a tear recently, trying to work her way into a more meaningful role on this team as a freshman. Top 25 recruit in the country. She'll be real good. The earliest. Have to think she'll be a favorite to take over for Faith Canfield at second, a natural infielder. Overitis, 273 on the year, 365 on base. Huge screams from the crowd. Sounds like maybe her high school or somebody is here.
Someone that knows her.
She's a local, or relatively local, from the Plymouth Canton area, about 30 minutes away. She'll take the first pitch for a strike.
Run out of time for the cycle.
Yeah, might not get that chance. As Michigan leads 10-1. Overitis has 1 homer on the year and happened to come against Michigan State in East Lansing, a pinch hit homer. 0-1. Oh, that hit her inside. And now Michigan will load the bases. She'll take that hit by pitch to pad the OBP.
Faith Canfield now to reset the Michigan lineup too, so
yeah, a chance to really
think
pour it
pitching change coming as well, I think.
Yep. MSU might be digging into their bullpen here.
It's going to be number 19, I think, Allie Walker.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Allie Walker coming in from the bullpen. She was throwing beyond the left field fence. McKenna Gregory in a long conversation with her coach. Not sure if she's fighting to try to stay in the game or what the story is. A lot of pointers going on there. And now standing on the rubber and getting ready to warm up is Allie Walker. As Michigan leads by 9 runs.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really put a lot of these hits on any of the fielders. I mean, there was a lot of power tonight from Michigan, and it's on the pitcher to keep that down.
Yeah, and I mean, even some of the outs were some real hard hit balls. You think about the out by Subject to the wall.
Yep.
Peters a liner to left. I mean, it
could have been worse.
Yeah, they were really barreling it up. So you take a look at the polls from this week. USA Today top 25 coaches poll: Michigan 22nd, Northwestern 23rd, Minnesota 18th. In the USA Softball ESPN top 25, Minnesota 12th, Northwestern 18th, Michigan 19th. The ESPN poll liking the Big Ten a little bit more than USA Today, but again, 3 teams all in that regional territory. It's been a really good season for the Big Ten. Potentially put 6 teams in the tournament, because Illinois, Indiana, and Wisconsin and Ohio State, 7 teams. Those 4 all in the bubble. Wisconsin on the right side of the bubble right now. Illinois, Indiana, Ohio State, very dicey. But if they can bank some late season wins, you could see 6-7 Big Ten teams in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Southern and West Coast teams so good.
Yeah.
Right, it's also going to depend on how they're viewed, how they finish the season, etc. But you're right, Big Ten teams are giving themselves a chance, and at this point in the season, for a lot of teams, that's all you can really ask for.
So here's Faith Canfield, bases loaded, 1 out, and she takes that one down and in. Nice job to get down and block it by Charla Eccles. Prevent Hoganrod from scoring from third. Michigan's tacked on 3 more in the bottom of the 4th. They got 4 in the first, 3 in the second, now 3 in the 4th for 10 runs and a 9-run edge over the in-state rivals. 1-0 swing and a line drive to center field. It's deep. Watch it fly. Gone. The grand slam. Faith Canfield. Make it 14-1 Michigan.
Wow.
Pour it on.
Is it too early to say that Michigan State has been blown away like the wind?
Yeah. That's home run number 7 for Faith, and she's 2 for 2 on the night with a walk. Michigan leads 14-1. A battering of MSU here tonight. Allie Walker, first hitter she faces, surrenders another Michigan homer.
Yeah.
And that'll bring up Natalie Peters, or rather Lou Allen. It's going to be a pinch hitter. Lou still 0 for 8 on the season, with 4 walks though, so a respectable OBP, because again, her what seemed like a solid single in the Illinois game was marked down as an error on the right fielder. Was still a hugely clutch at bat, as that she was down to her final strike, and the team at risk of sustaining a crucial second loss in conference play. Lou's been trying to work her way back after the devastating knee injury in the fall. 2 knee injuries in 2 seasons, and what's hampered her college career thus far. As he got a ball that made its way onto the field, and the guy picks it up.
American hero.
But Allen will be firmly in the mix to get a spot next year if she can just have 1 off season fully healthy. With the raw talent that she has. 1-0, she swings, lines that one. There's the first hit of the season for Lou. She's aboard with a single to left. And the crowd gives her a big hand.
Yeah, I mean, now we're seeing some of the depth as well, and that's quite pleasant for Michigan.
Yeah.
To know that they have so many capable players on the bench right now that when some of these seniors graduate, they have options, you know?
Yeah.
And they're gonna recruit at a high level still, but this is a team that is balanced and powerful in the lineup. They've got capable depth, and you know, this is the makings of a strong program. This is what a solid college program looks like.
Natalie Peters has come back into the game to run for Allen, and Abby Skvars is going to pinch hit for Lexi.
Another one of those capable bench hitters.
Well, I mean, you look into next year where Michigan's going to lose some players. There's a ball low to Skvars. You lose Canfield, you lose Peters, you lose Alexander, and you lose Subject, and you lose Nemitz. Now those are some players. There's some obvious fill-ins at different spots. Hannah Carson will be the catcher in all likelihood. Skars will be an option, but Carson was recruited to be the catcher of the future. So she'll replace Katie. There's a ball low to Skars, 2-0. And then Overitis will get a spot somewhere. You just don't know where, whether it's DP or infield. And then, that leaves a spot in the outfield. It leaves a spot at first, leaves a spot at designated player for people to step up. And there's a ball low, 3-0 on Skvars, whether it is Abby or Lou Allen or someone like Gianna Carasoni, who's mostly been a bench player. Maybe Taylor Bump finally figures it out, not to mention the fact that Michigan brings in the number 4 recruiting class in the country next year with some really fine players. There's another ball high, and it's a 4-pitch walk to Skvars. A lot of power coming in next year, too. I was looking at some of the folks being brought in, along with a very highly touted pitcher, so it'll just get deeper next year. As Michigan, the one position they are set at is pitcher, with 2 more years of Bobby and 3 more years of Stracco. You add another blue chip pitcher next year, you could finally get that 2-ace type rotation.
Schaefer too. I mean,
yeah.
Whatever role she falls into, but yeah, it's a steady bullpen.
And that's good because Michigan still, this year Stracco I think has been a little more dependable than Terra Blanco was last year, but they still lean on Bobian.
Yep. At
times, and if you can develop that big time number 2, there's a ball low as Allie Walker's struggling to find the strike zone.
Well, I think also, obviously Megan Bobian's very good, but after a weekend of playing same pitcher, right, the other lineup starts to get a feel for her.
Yeah.
And if you can put up another ace like that, then you get a chance to really mix up the looks and keep batters off rhythm.
There's a ball down and in, 2-0. This is a pinch hitter. It's Taylor Bump for Alex Subject. Bump's gotten the average up to 207 as she's gotten a few hits, starting to string together more confident at bats. And the thing is, if you look at some of the great teams out there, UCLA, Oklahoma, those teams all have multiple elite pitchers, the ability to throw aces in every single game.
Yep. So right now, what does this put our last 2 game run total at? Like, what?
Let me look it up.
Is this 38-6 or something?
Between the last 2 games is 30-6. 16-5 and now 14-1.
No, for you and me.
Oh, for
calls. Toledo and now Michigan State.
Yeah, now it's 40-4.
Wow.
Yeah, Michigan, dating back to that Illinois series, last 3 games, 9 runs, 16 runs, 14 runs. A lot of power these last few games. 2-0 on Bump is low, and Allie Walker really struggling to find the zone right now.
Yeah, you come in and go up a shot like that on your first batter doesn't probably do a lot of good for your confidence.
And that one is a strike to Taylor Bump. It's been a very long inning. And Michigan still only 1 out. The 3-1 count.
Yeah, this has been going for a while. See the whole team bat this inning, huh?
Yes. 3-1 down, and Bump draws a walk, so that'll bring up Maddie Uden with the bases juiced and still only 1 out. The 14 runs put up by Michigan today is now the fourth most of the season, behind 16 to Illinois, 18 to Kent State, and the 24 to Toledo. And really, the power has really come here in this conference play, and really since they returned in the Kent State series, didn't have a ton of these big power outings in the non-conference. That said, the non-conference was an absolutely stacked schedule. They played just elite team after elite team in the non-conference, but still, when they played the Illinois States, when they played the Cal State Northridges, they weren't putting up this kind of power consistently.
No, they certainly turned a corner at some point, but I still think playing a non-conference schedule like that did them wonders now.
Yeah.
I mean, you beat yourself up like that early on, toughen yourself up, and then you come and you dominate in the Big Ten like this. There's a reason for it, you know. And, you know, the confidence might have been shaken a little bit early on. Could have been responsible for some of those just kind of odd performances, but at the end of the day, you toughen yourself up, you're going to be ready to play, and that's what Michigan is now. They're a complete team at the moment.
There's a strike to Uden, 1-1, the count on her. She's 0 for 2 with a walk, taps that one foul. Well, and the other thing is that in the non-conference, some of the teams, I mean, Carol Hutchins said before the season she wanted a tough non-conference schedule, but it got tougher because some of the teams that they were just scheduled to play, those teams ended up being better than what was expected.
Yep.
So count 1 and 2, Walker on Uden. That one down and away. I mean, the things I come back to, South Florida is 25th in RPI. They were not the centerpiece of that Tampa tournament, but they are a very solid team. The Big Ten ACC Challenge, I mean, that was expected. That was not going to be as tough. Louisville, North Carolina, they're now both top 30 teams in RPI, probably tournament teams. You look at the LSU weekend, Michigan lost to Stanford. Well, Stanford's 22nd in RPI now. There's the fall low, 3-2. I mean, everything but that really shocking South Dakota loss. Every other loss for Michigan has been top 50 RPI, and with the exception of Ohio State, top 30 RPI.
And in college, scheduling is such an important part of the job, and you know, you got to know your team, you got to know the sport, and you got to know, you know, who you are scheduling too. Like, that's important.
There's a ground ball to second and a hesitation there from the second baseman McKay. She decides to get the easy out of Uden. That scores another run. Maddie will pick up an RBI, and it's now 15-1 Michigan with 2 outs, runners on second and third.
But
and Hannah Carson digs in.
You know, softball, as compared to, say, sport like football or even basketball, right, where you're physically going head-to-head against someone, you know, if you play you can't schedule SEC teams in your non-conference schedule every game because, like, that will just beat you up before you play Big Ten football.
Yeah.
Or, right? You can't schedule games like that in sports like that, but softball, you know, you still got to pitch, still got to hit, and might as well do it against the best to get better for when it's going to matter.
Carson takes a pitch outside. Carson, the pinch hitter, is, as we mentioned, the catcher of the future. 3 doubles, a triple, a homer for her. Has gotten a pretty good slugging numbers. 354 on base, 250 average. 1-0 the count. She takes that one, check swing high, 2-0. And, you know, the Big Ten play, Michigan got a bit of luck dodging Northwestern and Minnesota in the regular season, but they still played some very tough teams. I mean, the last 3 series stretch, Indiana, Ohio State, Illinois, 2 of the 3 on the road, those could all be tournament teams, as there's a solid single for Hannah Carson. That'll score another run. Runner held at third. 16-1 now, Michigan over Michigan State. So altogether, between the non-con and the conference, in addition to potential Big Ten tournament, Michigan could enter Selection Sunday with a pretty robust resume.
It's looking that way, and it's looking like they could also enter selection time as a very hot team.
Yeah. 16-1, the score as Hoganrod gets ready to dig in. Haley is 1 for 3 today. She takes a strike. Her single was in this same inning, as Michigan's been batting around now, having put up 9 runs in this bottom of the 4th.
We've had to seen most of, like, the actual, like, entire roster at this point. We've seen Shalaman, we've seen Skavars.
I think we've seen everybody.
We've seen Bump, Allen, Carson Gonzalez.
And there's a swing and a high fly ball into left center. Coming on over is Eccles, and she makes a very awkward catch falling down.
We haven't seen Carasone and then Storako and Schaefer.
Yeah, that's it. We're going to probably see Storako or Schaefer here.
Yeah,
my guess.
Bobian's got the mask off. She's jogging out with the girls. It'll be Storako, I think.
Yep. And now here comes Carasone off the bench. She's headed out to shortstop.
All right, there we go. So is Sarah Schaefer the only girl we don't see tonight?
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but the fifth inning recharge is this is likely the last half inning of the game. Top of the fifth, Michigan up 15 runs. The run rule coming into effect as some fans headed for the exits. It's going to end up being just about a 2-hour game, as the time right now is 8:50 Eastern Time. Once again, thank you for joining us on WCBN Sports' coverage of Michigan softball. I have to say that bottom half of the inning did well to make us cover this full 2-hour block that we had on air. Yeah,
it actually did.
Because we were, if
cutting things a little close there.
If the Canfield homer, 2 more outs, it could have been an 8:40 ending, and we would have been in a bit of a pickle, but Michigan pouring it on there. Bobian's day will be done. 4 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, 1 run, 7 strikeouts. Very, very solid routine day for her. And now Alex Storako gets ready to enter the circle in the top of the 5th. Altogether, Michigan this season has outscored Michigan State 28-2. 12-1 in the first game, 16-1 here. Very, very lopsided couple games between these two teams. So you mentioned the Big Ten tournament is going to be in Bloomington, Indiana this year. That'll be a very competitive tournament. A lot of good squads and chance for Michigan to maybe play Northwestern and Minnesota in one of those games. It's been 4 years since Michigan won the Big Ten tournament. Ousted by MSU last 2 years, lost a heartbreaker in extras to Minnesota in 2016.
A lot of fans are now heading for the exits, at least from the outfield.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Beat the traffic.
It's cool. It's been a long one for 4 innings of completed softball, and see if Alex Storako can pick up where she left off in the first Michigan State game and get things done quickly.
That one dives low to Lainey Joyner. Storako enters this game. Pretty solid season stats. 1-0 to Joyner, off-speed froze her, and there's a strike 1-1. Storako 2.33 ERA, 1.05 whip. Home runs remain an issue. 1-1, swinging a high pop-up, arcing foul. She got knocked around by Illinois a bit, but again, that's an excellent offensive team. No shame in that. 1-2 high, 2-2. It'll be interesting these next 2 weekends against Penn State and Maryland. You think she'll get a lot of starts. On the other hand, in the regular season title chase, you can't afford any mistakes.
Yeah, that's the thing about the standings being as tight as they are, is that you gotta weigh every decision you make still.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Yeah, I would think she'll get her fair share of starts, but as we've seen, it'll probably be quick hooks. That said, if Michigan can just keep hitting the ball, and they can pour 8 runs against Penn State, 8 runs against Maryland, it won't really matter the pitching decisions.
Yeah, I mean, and last year it was Bobian or bust almost.
Yeah.
But not the case this year.
That one goes high and off the glove of Hannah Carson, who has stayed in to catch. Taylor Bump in there at first. Canfield's come back out at second. Carasone at short. Uden at third. Blair's gone back out, as has the rest of the infield. Peters and Hoganrod out there in the outfield. Storako standing on the rubber. 1-0 pitch, swinging a high fly ball into shallow center field. Peters coming on, and Canfield calls her off, makes the play. 2 outs, and the Spartans down to their final out. You know, a good offensive performance really does take the stress off the pitcher.
Yeah, especially when you score 16 runs.
Yeah.
Good call. But no, I mean, not even just the pitcher, like the defense as a whole, right? You
Yeah.
think about every player on defense, and they know that if they gave up 1 or 2 runs last year, you know, maybe they lose that game,
Yeah.
right? Like realistically, that might be a loss. And all right, you know, you give up a run, you're upset, you're up 7-0, right? Like we're gonna be all right. We're gonna get a couple more outs, and it is what it is. But
There's off speed to Heckles, a strike 1-1.
you know, you almost wonder if it allows them to play without that in the back of their minds on offense. Like you're playing good defense, you're gonna play good offense. You're playing good offense. You don't have to think about either side of the plate very much.
There's a foul ball by Eccles, and now 1-2. MSU down to their final strike.
And I think that ability to play loose has really helped this Wolverines team as a whole.
Count is 1-2 on Charla Eccles, who is 1 for 2 tonight. Swing and a miss! She chased the rise ball way out of the zone. Climbed the ladder, and Michigan takes it by a final score of 16-1 in the 5-inning run rule game. They outscore their rival 28-2 across 2 games this season, and they complete the season sweep of MSU, and altogether 4-1 against the rivals this year. In regular season play, they advance now to 16-1 in Big Ten play, and just 6 games remaining. Penn State and Maryland coming up this weekend, and that's it for the Big Ten play. Wolverines remain right there firmly in that hunt. Megan Bobian picks up the win. The loss will go to McKenna Gregory. Michigan 16 runs on 14 hits. Got some walks, some hit by pitches, and most importantly, some powerful hits.
A lot of power on display. Once again, Michigan handling a rival, taking care of business, and coming out focused. Yeah, you could say that maybe they're worried about finals or something. I don't know, but they certainly didn't show anything other than thinking about dominating the softball diamond tonight. And the Big Ten race forges ahead. WCBN will be providing coverage all weekend long here for the Penn State series, so stick around with us and we'll bring that to you.
Yep, grand slam by Faith Canfield, 3-run homer by Mackenzie Nemitz, and a solo homer by Katie Alexander. Michigan gets it done 16-1. We will be back at it on the weekend for Michigan against Penn State. Those 3 games will be at 6 p.m. on Friday, 2 p.m. on Saturday, and 1 p.m. on Sunday. Final home weekend of the season. Also, the Michigan Softball Academy Thursday night. Do intend to sign up for that if you're interested. Always a great event. But with that, just about does it for us on this cold and windy night.
Oh, I can't wait to go warm up.
For Lucas Vargas, Alex Drain, final score from Alumni Field, 16-1, Michigan over Michigan State. With that, we leave you with a good night and a Go Blue.